Terima kasih pemirsa, Anda masih bersama kami di Jakarta IPRI yang merupakan seri ke-9 dari rangkaian Formula E musim 2022. Dan kita harus bangga Indonesia menjadi salah satu tuan rumah dari hanya 3 negara Asia yang menjadi tuan rumah selain Arab Saudi dan juga tentunya Korea yang merupakan tuan rumah di seri ke-15 dan 16. Ya, Mas Wahab, Anda melihat bagaimana dengan kita lanjutkan perbincangan kita tadi?
Siap.
Sejauh mana Anda melihat kesulitan para pembalap meskipun mereka sudah melakukan simulator, kemudian hanya ada waktu 2 hari sebelum mereka tentunya turun di race yang sesungguhnya?
Ya, pembalap-pembalap itu pasti akan menyesuaikan seperti di beberapa tikungan. Kita lihat di tikungan 1 misalkan, tikungan 13 atau nanti rencananya untuk detection attack mode. Untuk pengambilan drone-nya kan ada di tikungan 16.
Ya.
Itu semua adalah tempat-tempat yang potensi untuk melakukan overtaking.
Ya, kita lihat dulu Mas Wahab dan juga pemirsa, ini bagaimana kalender dari Formula E 2022. Kita sudah bahas tadi ada 16 seri yang akan dilangsungkan dan saat ini sudah masuki seri ke-9 di Jakarta, di sirkuit Ancol. Dan kita lihat bagaimana championship leader saat ini dan Stoffel Van Dorn ini menjadi pembalap yang paling dicari ya bersama dengan Nick De Vries tentunya
ya,
yang masih
betul.
ada keturunan Indonesia ya.
Betul.
Mas, ini menjadi salah satu local pride ya dalam tanda kutip.
Dalam tanda kutip 25% dia. Dan sebenarnya Bung Tio kemarin rencananya ada 17 race karena Indonesia diharapkan bisa double header.
Betul.
Tetapi karena kita dikasih tenggang waktunya belum bisa memberikan jawaban, makanya dicoret.
Ya.
Kalau iya mungkin musim ini jadi 17.
Betul.
Kalau itu jadi 17 Indonesia langsung double header, saya pikir economic impact-nya juga makin gede sebenarnya ya. Tapi sekarang ini kita fokus di satu race penyelenggaraan ini, moga-moga tidak ada masalah, Bung Tio.
Ya, kalau Anda melihat dari ini karakteristik sirkuit. Nah, ini tadi Anda mengatakan tikungan-tikungan yang mungkin pemirsa tidak terlalu paham. Nah, bagaimana Anda melihat mencermati jalannya race seperti ini?
Ya, ini tikungan pertama, run-off-nya agak lebar.
Ya.
Nah, itu nanti pada saat start di situ balap masih power. Nah, ini tikungan yang panjang ngabisin energi.
Ini tricky
tadi,
ya?
Tricky itu.
Betul.
Nah, kemudian ini juga selain ini track lurus ini juga menghabiskan energi karena panjang. Nah, disinilah nanti magic overtaking kemungkinan akan terjadi. Tadi di ujung hairpin itu namanya hairpin. Dan kemudian akan kembali ke start. Nah, tikungan kedua tadi setelah start itu kan pembalap masih punya energi yang cukup banyak. Mestinya dia akan sedikit menghabiskan di tikungan 2. Ini kita lihat, ini rasanya, oh ya ini tikungan 1 maaf. Tikungan 1 kan run-off-nya gede itu Bung Tio.
Ya, betul. Dan kita lihat dulu, Mas Wahab dan juga pemirsa, inilah situasi terkini yang ada di Ancol Sirkuit. Yang tentunya kalau kita lihat sudah bersiap-siap untuk free practice pertama Stoffel Van Dorn. Ini salah satu pembalap yang juga sangat terkenal kalau kita lihat juga pernah di Formula One ya.
Pernah ke Indonesia juga.
Betul.
Waktu itu saya antar untuk ketemu Pak Gubernur juga di Balai Kota.
Betul. Dan ini menjadi salah satu andalan dari Mercedes ya.
Iya.
Ya, kalau Anda melihat ini banyak yang mengatakan bahwa sirkuit ini juga merupakan mirip dengan Diria. Tapi apa yang menjadi menarik ketika saat ini para pembalap sudah mencoba sirkuit ini? Apakah Anda memiliki berita terbaru bahwa ada yang mengeluhkan sulitnya sirkuit ini atau mudahnya sirkuit ini dibandingkan dengan sirkuit-sirkuit lainnya? Ya,
sebenarnya kemarin kan sudah dilakukan jam 15.30 sore kemarin shakedown. Shakedown sendiri adalah untuk membuktikan bahwa semua perangkat itu berjalan dengan baik.
Betul.
Tentu saja di situ pembalap belum bisa merasakan feel yang sebenarnya, tetapi semuanya sudah mulai bicara mengenai panas.
Cuaca ya?
Cuaca. Dan ini bisa jadi balapannya seperti nanti endurance. Tapi kita lihat saja ini nanti. Sebentar lagi kita mulai ini saat-saat momen bersejarah sekali ini Bung Tio.
Betul.
Kita lihat ini semua pembalap keluar.
Ini resmi ya bahwa tentunya menjadi sebuah momen yang luar biasa untuk pertama kalinya mereka mencoba sirkuit dengan kekuatan full power ya?
Iya. Dengan ini kita bisa bilang gelaran ini secara resmi sudah dimulai dengan keluarnya pembalap saat practice 1.
Baik, pemirsa kita akan langsung menuju ke sirkuit Ancol Jakarta untuk menyaksikan free practice pertama dari Jakarta IPRI Formula E 2022. Selamat menyaksikan.
Udah.
Attention all teams, attention all teams. This is race control. Full course yellow. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow, full course yellow.
Practice full course yellow deployed by Scott Elkins down in the bottom right there. Put the headset on. Well, they've all got headsets on. That's not really differentiating him, is it? But we're doing a practice full course yellow just so all the marshals get used to it. And the first international single-seater race in Indonesia since 2006. So good to get these practices in.
What was that? Was that
Attention all teams. This is race control. Full course yellow ending in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Green flag, green flag.
So they get back underway. Yeah, it was A1GP. None of these drivers actually were in it. Sebastian Webby would have been in it, but for some reason didn't. He was doing the rest of the season, but then got replaced or swapped, I don't know, by Neil Jani. There were Neil Jani, Salvador Duran, and Hopin. Running right behind Van Dorn, now backs himself off a little bit of wheel spin on the exit as he comes over the line and down towards the first corner where Van Dorn is at the moment, turning into the right-hander. That's at 1, and now he gets right up to the wall before swinging it into 2 and 3. Robin Freins had a big moment there in shakedown yesterday. Then the left-hander of 4, and this takes you around the curve, around the Ancol Beach City Mall and into turn 7. Car looking very lively.
Yeah, I think it's down to the lack of grip, look how dusty the circuit is. But the other thing to note, the car hasn't been straight yet at all during the lap. There's been turn 1, 2, and 3 are taken as one corner. It's just the whole circuit is a constant curve. One of the straight points is breaking into turn 13, so you're going to see big fights for real estate into 13 later on this afternoon.
Then you come out into turn 16, where attack mode activation is located here at the bottom.
Bayern's corner.
Van Dorn now into the final corner of 18, out across the line, and the timing line is here underneath the lights there, where Van Dorn goes through now. Oh, I think the Vries just went in a bit deep.
Push turn 1, then cool down.
Ian James not watching, just on the phone.
He's multitasking.
Yeah, exactly. And Van Dorn goes quickest and push into turn 1 and then cool down was the message from Stephen Lane. For what it's worth, Van Dorn did a 1-minute 10.681. So there is Mitch Evans.
Thing to consider, Jack, obviously the circuit's cleaning up a bit. There's going to be a bit of rubber going down. The grip's going to increase, but the tyres are going to overheat. 1 or 2 laps, the tyres are just going to continually overheat, lose grip because of that, get them out of their operating window. And if you look at the surface, it's very dark, which means as soon as the sun gets on it, the temperature's going to go up even quicker. So in itself, it's going to be a massive challenge this afternoon. Not even this afternoon, in qualifying as well, later this morning.
Mitch Evans, very happy to be leaving Berlin. When I spoke to him after the race on the Sunday, hasn't had a huge amount of success there as Evans, and a 5th and a 10th weren't what he was looking for either for he and the Jaguar team. Lucas de Grassi has returned to the pit lane in the Rocket Venturi, and now he's heading out again after popping into the pits. Is he the only driver that him and Mortara both just came into the pits? Everybody else staying out there, maybe to cool down a little quicker by coming into the pit lane. The 2 Diesta cheaters are trying to keep out of people's way. Antonio Felix da Costa had a little trip to Bali to do some surfing before coming here to Jakarta. Apparently the surfing is more dangerous in Bali than in Portugal, where he usually goes, because of the coral reefs. You can cut yourself on a coral reef, apparently, and da Costa did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Wonder if his team know that.
Well, I did ask him, is it in the contract that you can't go surfing? And he said, yeah, but I don't care, so...
Ooh.
Yeah.
Having some incidents in my life out with the car, you definitely care when you do injure yourself in the team and stop paying you.
Yeah.
It suddenly becomes very critical. Oh, big bump there, going into 7, and a correction of oversteer. That's interesting. So Antonio Felix da Costa right up against the wall on the outside going into 7, and he discovered a new bump in the track.
Tara still in the pit lane at the moment. Da Costa coming up towards 13. 11 and 12 look fun.
Oh yeah, that whole section looks really good fun. Da Costa's car doesn't look fun though. It looks like it's sliding around a lot at the moment. Maybe he's got it set up for more of a grippy track. You can see as he gets to the brakes, the bag steps out. Just listen to him actually rather than listen to me. Yeah, you've got to say the DS Cheetah looks a bit oversteer, the back sliding, less grip in the back of the car right now than the front. And that will improve as the rubber goes down in the circuit.
How difficult is it to, like, remember that? Do you know what I mean? And not, here's a look at the bump coming into 7. Quite a few, actually.
Yeah, about 3 of them.
Whoa. But, like, not set up the car for the track as it is, but for how it will evolve to be.
I think some of that's experience and some of that's just the way your mind works, and you have to think about what you want from the car later that afternoon, and with experience in any formula you understand what you have to do to achieve that, Jack, and understanding the surface, the way the tyre wears, all those things. That's where the experience of the driver and the engineer comes into play.
Jay Penske, the boss of the Dragon Penske team, watching his driver Sergio Sene Camera coming into turn 13.
I think with the conditions of this track and the unpredictability that's going to create this afternoon, I think we can see Sergio Sene Camera qualifying pretty well today. He's got that ability, hasn't he, just to pull those 1 laps out of not seemingly nowhere, but he's got the ability to absolutely wring the car's neck. Very impressive.
Made it into the duels for the first time this season in the first race in Berlin. Could have been in the duels were he not in the barriers in Rome. Evans and Bird both pit in the Jaguars. Lotterer pits as well in the Porsche. A little lock-up from Van Dorn as he comes into the first corner. Lucas de Grassi is currently quickest for what it's worth, a 1:09.7. And here's Nick de Vries coming into turn 18. Final corner. And, quite wide and not too far from the barriers there, de Vries.
It almost looked like he couldn't turn in because the back of the car was sliding. He had a couple of goes at correcting to the left, and he just didn't want to turn, and eventually, as you say, Jack, was getting close to the barrier, so he had to. You can see it almost looks like they're putting water on the tyres to try and attempt to cool them down a little bit.
Jake Dennis here. 1 podium so far this season, a 3rd and a 5th in the opening weekend in Diriyah, but hasn't really got back to those heights. Jake Dennis was hoping for a good result in Berlin because they went well there last season. Wasn't to be. 2 13th places for the British driver. And he's 1.2 seconds down after the middle sector, but probably not on a full push lap here, or certainly not at a 250. Maybe a 220 push for Dennis as he comes into the final corner. I don't think we've seen anyone at 200, and that I like 17 as well. It's a bit more of a corner than I thought it was going to be.
Just wait until about 30 minutes into the race this afternoon.
Yeah.
The tyres are torched, so that's going to be a proper corner. Yeah, there's a bump right in the middle of the straight. You see Jake Dennis going over it. You can hear the noise of the cars go over the curbs on the inside of the corner. Yeah, this is going to be a difficult place this afternoon to race. You see Roger Griffiths, team principal of the Avalanche Andretti team. It looks like he's perspiring already. It's yeah, it was humid when we got here at 6 o'clock this morning.
Robin Freitz and the Envision. Looks like the engine cover was about to come off, I think, so maybe a bit of setup work going on at the back of the car. As we look now at Max Günther in the Nissan. Only 1 points finished for Günther so far this season, which was a 9th place in Mexico City. His teammate Sebastian Buemi has picked up 3 points finishes, but 2 14ths in Berlin were all that Buemi had to show. As Günther now comes through the sweepers at 9 and 10, you can see the mark on the ground where the car's been bottoming out, and then into 11 and 12 and down to 13, the hairpin. The 2 Nissans running together.
Just watching the way cars go around the circuit, I would say that the grip level is probably surprisingly low for the teams right now. And it's going to be fascinating to see how much evolution there is, how much the track improves with every lap, because we're nearly halfway through this session already. We've only got another half an hour session before qualifying, and you've got to set the car up to run at 250 kilowatts qualifying power if you get for the duels, but you've also got to have that with those 1 laps at 200 in the group stages. So you've really got to work on 2 different setups. I know your theory, Jack, is you'd work more in 200 just to make sure you're in the duels.
Yeah.
And then the worst you can start is 8th position.
But no one agrees with it.
I think it's
Everyone just does 250 all the time.
Yeah, everybody wants to be top of the timesheets, don't they?
18 minutes on the clock. Evans now goes to the top of the times, a 1 minute 19.2.
Sam Bird, P2, so Draggy 1-2 at the moment. Just, the cars are not straight. We've talked about it a little bit, and that just overheats the tyres. It just tortures them the whole time. So, and it sounds like the guys are expecting that from what they did on the simulators, but I think the reality is probably quite shocking. I think it's a great track.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not easy.
No, I'm a big fan of this track so far. It's all a bit, there's no like Mickey Mouse bits, as we say, you know. It's all proper corners, flowing corners. Okay, 13 is slow, but it still is kind of part of the whole vibe of the track.
Yeah, I love a slow corner. You've got to have a hairpin, especially one with a wide entry like that. That's going to be interesting to see how people choose to take that corner this afternoon, whether they try and defend on the way in or or take the normal line. But God, that's such a wide exit out of turn 1. See the grassy through, or sorry, we do more turn 4-5 through the kink in 6, and over the bumps now into 7. And again, you're hitting those bumps, but the car's not straight, so that'll make their life interesting.
Into 9 and 10.
And then just to make things more difficult, the sun's coming up.
Yeah.
And the sun will be in the driver's eyes through a couple of corners.
Tara now down into 13. Second place in the championship. 12 points away from Stoffel van Dorn. 2 pole position. Had never had pole position in Formula E. And then 2 came along at once in Berlin, and then finished first and second. And a great run of form at the moment, Eduardo Mortara. As he comes into the final corner, maybe held up a little by Antonio Giovinazzi, but he did get out of the way at the end.
And Mortara, those 2 DNFs, second race in Rome and then Monaco, that really sort of blunted his championship aspirations at the moment. But the fact he's still P2, I think that shows how strong the rest of his season's been. And as a customer team, with Mercedes EQ powertrain, they've done such a good job this year.
Tremendous. Here's a look at Antonio Giovinazzi, personal best in the first sector as he comes onto the bumps into turn 7. And I just wonder with Giovinazzi what we'll see this weekend, because it is a new track for everybody, which hasn't been the case at any point so far this season for Giovinazzi and for Tictum. They've been sort of playing catch-up the whole time.
There's a caterpillar on the track. I was just watching that. Yeah, Giovinazzi's, I think he's struggled to get his head around the way to race a Formula E race, but then even the car, there's used massive downforce Formula 1 cars with big slick tyres. These cars are designed specifically to slide around with no aerodynamics, and it's almost more difficult to get back into a slower car than it is to go into a quicker car.
14.5 minutes to go, so we are over halfway through the session now. Cassidy slots into 10th place. Giovinazzi goes to the inside of Oliver Rowland. Here's a look at Giovinazzi at turn 13, getting quite wide.
That'll be the limit.
Yeah.
You can see when all the dust is coming up, that's not conducive to grip.
Here is Jean-Eric Verne in the DS Techeetah, coming out through 9 and 10. Through the quick 11 and 12. And into 13, and he's 3 tenths up at the moment on Mitch Evans' time, which is quickest currently, but Verne is in attack mode here. So this is going to be our first 250 kilowatt lap, first full power lap of the session, I would suggest, as he comes into the final corner now. Through the right-hander, out across the line. And does Verne get ahead of Evans? He does by half a second. So that's the first full power lap, a 1 minute 8.703 for Jean-Eric Verne. 13 minutes to go.
Yeah, looked fairly under control, which I did not expect.
Yeah. Well, the track is getting cleaner all the time. Giovinazzi back in the pits. Tyre change for him. Lock up for Cassidy coming into the first corner. 11th on the timings at the moment and 13th in the standings. Had his best, well, his joint best qualifying of the season in the second race in Berlin, but the team had already decided to bring a new powertrain into the pool. So as a result, had to start from the pit lane and then serve a stop and go penalty. So his second race in Berlin was effectively over before it began. But that little flash of pace in qualifying was a much-needed encouragement for Cassidy, I think, because he's struggled a little this year, considering how strong he was last year.
Yeah, I think exactly right, Jack. I think he was so strong last year, but as a driver, he'll know that he did his job, regardless of where he started or what happened. You know, he knows that he did his job. He knows that the car felt good for him, and that'll give him, that, as you say, that confidence. And like all sports, you know, racing is a lot about confidence and not second guessing yourself when you're driving the car.
Cassidy here behind Jean-Eric Verne as they come into the first corner. Backs off a little. Does Cassidy to give himself a bit of a gap to Verne, who's still at the top of the times. Here's a look at Cassidy coming into 7. Getting right up to the wall. Sylvain Philippe and Mike Lugg, the managing director and the can't remember the exact title of Mike Lugg. Chief technical man.
Engineering person.
Chief engineer. That's got to be it. It's got to be chief engineer. Maybe it's chief engineer. And this is their other driver at Envision, Robin Freitz. A little adrift after no points on the first day in Berlin after a horrible qualifying. And then 5th on the second day was a little better. Qualified on the front row actually, but ended up slipping back, missed attack mode, which cost him a place or two, but was kind of happy with best of the rest and felt that he wouldn't have been able to really beat the Mercedes anyway.
Yeah, looked like a fairly interesting day for him in Berlin. Just looking at the attack mode, talk about that, the sensors have been placed in quite a tricky position. They're near the end of the attack mode activation zone, the 3 sensors you've got to cross, and I think it's going to cost a lot more time than maybe at first looked, and especially as the inside of the corner is banked as well, so that the people that stay on line will be able to carry a bit more speed than they normally would through a 90-degree. Oliver Turvey up to P2 in the Neo.
10 minutes to go. A reminder, hashtag Jakarta ePre on the social medias. Also at FIA Formula E on all the social medias if you want to keep up to date with everything that's going on over the course of the day. And there's also the live hub at FIAFormulaE.com/live, where you can get race day coverage and live timing and exclusive content on there as well. So that's how you can keep across all the action today, of course, as well as joining us here. Natalie points out it's technical director, Mike Lugg is technical director. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, Natalie, yeah.
9.5, not chief engineering man, which is, I think, a better title, but up to him.
It's more distinctive.
So Turvey second, as you say. This is his teammate Dan Ticktum, and he's 5.6 seconds off. So he's not pushing this time, but he might go on the next one.
Could be a prep lap, yeah.
Yeah, it's a reasonable lap from Turvey, and the qualifyings for Neo have got a bit better. Actually, there is attack mode right on the exit of turn 16.
It is awkward, which is great for us.
Ticktum qualified 14th in Monaco. Turvey qualified 15th and 14th in the 2 Berlin races. So they've had a car inside the top 15 the last 3 ePre, Neo.
It's starting to look a bit better. There's some light at the end of the tunnel for the Neo guys. It's good to see. You know, 7 points scored so far this season.
8.5 minutes on the clock. Here comes Oliver Rowland on the power on a 200 lap out of the final corner. No, I think he's gone full power actually as he comes across the line. Might be doing a fan boost test, so we'll see. Yeah, it's gone off now, so I think it was just a little fan boost as he comes into the first corner now.
You can see he used a different line to start that lap, a wider turn to get a better exit, to accelerate across the line. We'll see that in qualifying this afternoon as everybody starts the lap.
220 kilowatts, of course, in the normal mode, and then 250 in qualifying.
It's even written here in my notes.
Yeah.
You can see that they're not using all the road out of the sort of turn 8 area, and that's just because they're trying to prepare for the next corner, turn 9. Oliver rolling through turn 12. That is a great section. That whole, and I think that could definitely catch some people out this afternoon as people start pushing harder.
Out now towards turn 18. Because I like that. I really like 17 because you've got to get it back over so quickly, so you can't use the whole road.
Exactly right, and I think that's true for so many corners on this circuit. It's true for turn 3, 4, 7, 8, because it's just combination after combination of corners, and it's a real rhythm section of a real rhythm type of track.
And when we see it again, you'll see that there's sort of a dotted entry to the pit lane and then a solid entry to the pit lane there. You see the dotted bit, they're allowed to cross that when they come out of the left-hander, but then they can't cross the solid bit of the pit lane entry. Here comes Andre Lotterer then, full power, and let's watch him down towards turn 1 then. The German who has he's avoiding the bumps quite dramatically there, isn't he, into turn 1?
Yeah, must be running the car low if he's doing that. Dead
the only driver to have made it into the qualifying duels every single race.
He still hasn't won a race.
No, he still hasn't won a race.
Unbelievable. Today could be the day. Yeah, this car is low. Look how it's hitting the bumps into 7, which is why he avoided those bumps on the main start-finish straight.
A few days in Jakarta, meeting some of the locals as Andre Lotterer on his Instagram, which is always a fun thing to follow.
Yeah, he's got some proper cars, as Andre Lotterer.
Yeah.
He loves his old cars as well.
Fastest middle sector of anyone. He's a 1/10 of a second down on Jean-Eric Verne at the moment. Turn 16.
Bit of understeer through 16, the front of the car sliding.
Very tidy through 17. Let's see what this does compared to Verne. Third. Just under 2 tenths away. Jake Dennis currently in second place. Incident between De Vries and De Costa has been noted by the stewards, so not sure what happened out there with De Vries and De Costa, but something has. As Rowland now comes through the sweepers. Down towards 13. And he's a 10th down. He's in at 250 kilowatts as well here. A 10th down after the middle sector. And he's got a bit of traffic up ahead. And the traffic doesn't really get out of the way very much. Antonio Giovinazzi.
A bit naughty from Giovinazzi there. And from his engineers not to tell him what's going on.
Giovinazzi into the final corner. Less than 5 minutes to go across the line. Rowland goes 4th fastest in the end. A 1/4 of a second slower than Jean-Eric Verne. And there is De Costa back in the pit lane with 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock.
And this track doesn't discriminate. It tortures the left and the right side tyres equally. You've got as many left as right-handers, so you know, with setup as well, you've got to be very symmetrical on the setup of the car. Some of the tracks have got so many more corners in one direction that you can maybe change the setup a bit to turn better left or right. Not the case here in Jakarta.
Line 2 taking a bit of a wide line, or a different line, let's say, into the first corner to avoid the bumps. Oliver Rowland was saying on the radio that the tyres are going off very quickly. And it's not even that hot here at the moment.
Not yet. humid. But again, that's something that will, for this afternoon, that's going to be so difficult to do tyre management. You see Oliver Askew getting out of the way a little bit, maybe held up Pascal Wehrlein. And he's got the next Avalanche Andretti car ahead of him, Jake Dennis.
Can you do anything in particular to help tyres, or is it just driving? Because obviously you don't want like a slidey car, but you don't want a slidey car anyway, presumably.
Yeah, you've got to just drive within the grip level and not slide if you can, which is obviously easier said than done. If you can keep the car just within its grip level of the 4 tyres, then that really helps. But every time you slide, the tyre temperature goes up, so the car slides more, so the tyre temperature goes up. It's the most vicious circle to get involved in. And obviously, the guys can help with the dampers and stuff to give you that extra mechanical grip that you need.
Okay, and then a big cool down now. Big cool down now.
Big cool down. This is De Coster and De Vries. Oh, that's a big old moment. I think that feels like it was De Vries trying to get out of the way at the last minute, but De Coster had already committed to try and go past on the inside.
Absolutely right. I don't think there was anything. I just don't. Yeah. Was he getting out of the way because his teammate was in the same line as him straight ahead? Yeah. I mean, it looks like I don't think there was anything. Now we're going to have a little chat. Okay. He's like, yeah. See if there's any hand signals.
Interesting. Interesting.
Hey, what is going on with those two?
2 minutes to go.
Call it that, it's gone. That's half your practice gone.
Degrassi is now...
Hey teams, this is race control. I want to ask you to please have your drivers respect the cones at the pit entry. Respect the cones. Do not cross that line on driver's right, please.
Respect the cones at pit lane entry. So that's in the pit lane itself, I think, rather than this left-hander here. De Vries is up after the middle sector. Chucking in around 17.
He did say you don't use all the road in 17, but De Vries begs to differ.
Across the line. And it's third quickest. 1 minute 8.667. A few other quick laps coming in right at the end of the session. As you can see, the tower lighting up purple because people are in full power runs currently. And Nick De Vries goes third fastest, almost has a collision with Sebastian Buemi. Those are the cones that we're talking about here. So they've got to keep to the left of those cones. I doubt anyone's. Oh, maybe it's when they're coming into the weighbridge or something.
Or they might be cutting the corner.
Yeah. But they're not going to be whacking the cones, are they? Maybe, yeah. De Vries feels like Stoffel Van Dorn blocked him a moment ago.
Oh, inter-team. De Vries is having a bit of a morning.
He is, isn't he? There he is in the Mercedes EQ, having just done his lap. Here comes Stoffel Van Dorn, his teammate.
Will he repay the favour? Stoffel Van Dorn locking up the inside front into 13. No. Gets out of his way.
He's 6 tenths down after the middle sector. Oliver Rowland's actually flying. Here comes Van Dorn now. And De Vries is just in front of Rowland. Here comes Van Dorn into the final corner, and I think De Vries got in Rowland's way a little bit there as well. So we'll see what the lap time is in the end for Rowland. Van Dorn goes 15th and takes the checkered flag. Rowland goes quickest. A 1 minute 8.433 for Oliver Rowland, and I think that might end up being the quickest lap time.
By the Mahindra team, Oliver Rowland.
Yeah. Here's Sam Bird. He is only 2 tenths down after the first 2 sectors.
He's pushing.
Sorry, he was 2 tenths down after sector 1. He's half a second down after sector 2.
Dare I say he's over-driving a little bit, Jack. We're talking about not sliding the tyres. It looks like Sam just doesn't have the mechanical grip. Yeah, just needs to back it up a little bit. Not push quite so hard. Easy for me to say sitting here in the air conditioning.
Here comes Bird through the final corner after that little lock-up at 16. And Bird doesn't actually improve on that lap. Ends up 12th fastest in the Jaguar. And he's not happy with the balance on that car, Sam Bird, on the radio. And that's it. Rowland's going to end the session quickest, a 1 minute 8.433. Oh, but Buemi nearly got him right at the line. Only 900ths away, Sebastian Buemi. So Mahindra and Nissan first and second.
Good to see that. I mean, 8th and 9th in the team's championship for those guys. Nice to see the pace. See them run up front. Let's hope they can do that again when it counts in qualifying later this morning.
So practice starts coming up. Very difficult to read too much into that session though, because you've got De Grassi there in 3rd, Dennis in 4th. Championship leader is Stoffel van Doorn. He's down in 16th place in the end, slower than Oliver Turvey. Eduardo Mortara, 11th fastest. So there's an awful lot of things to shake out before qualifying gets underway. As you can see, 7:46 in the morning here in Jakarta.
Just look how wide the track gets.
It's going to be
entry to turn 1.
Yeah, are you expecting some like off the line? That's going to be quite something, because you're going to be also at. You know what? This is probably. I'm just trying to think of anywhere with a longer run to the first corner. Maybe Mexico. Diriyah. I think this is longer than Diriyah.
Yes, it is.
Maybe
It's a decent-sized run. Rome's a reasonable run now because it starts down the hill. It's a reasonable run, but I think this is longer.
I think this might be one of the longest runs.
But it's so wide. Yeah. What do you reckon? I think in track guide I said 7 wide.
You think we'll get 7 wide?
Well, you might. At this lot, you might. You just never know.
No, that's so true. We'll be back in an hour or so for free practice 2.
Just like that.
Yeah.
The teams have got to debrief. The hardest thing for the drivers, I think, or one of the hard things, is they can't get out of the humidity. They can't sort of got to find an air-conditioned spot. So hopefully their sort of driver pods are air-conditioned. I guess there's a bit of a battle of the paddling pools going on. Everybody's got these ice baths out the back.
Yeah, allegedly so.
Yeah.
The teams were saying or the drivers were saying on Thursday, they were comparing paddling pools and which ones the teams were going to go and get. So I've not seen any just yet. Were you a paddling pool kind of man in your racing career?
No, absolutely not.
Really?
No.
Why?
Cold, uncomfortable.
Oh, too cold.
Yeah. No, it just. No, I just never.
But were other drivers doing it?
Yeah,
or?
some of them were jumping in them, and it just looked. Yeah, the ice bath thing just looked uncomfortable. Possibly benefits, I don't know.
Yeah.
Comfort is everything, Jack.
Jaguars is up. Jaguars is up out the back of the garage. It's a nice blue and orange number. Here's a look at the results then. After FP1, Oliver Rowland Quiggets to 1 minute 8.433. 900s ahead of Sebastian Buemi and Lucas de Grassi in 3rd place. It's like we're back in season 3. Jake Dennis is 4th, Jean-Eric Verne 5th. And look at that, less than 2 tenths between the top 6. Antonio Felix da Costa, De Vries there in 8th place. Just over 2 tenths, the top 8. Verline, Freitz and Mortara, the 11 drivers at the top. And then Nick Cassidy, I guess, didn't get a run in. I imagine, well, the Dragon Penske's a little struggling. Good 18th fastest. Stoffel van Doorn only down in 16th position, the championship leader, but